Another day, another jump in Bitcoin. There's the chart right there, now nearing 55,000, continuing its big surge this year. Square is also up 11% today. The cryptocurrency in the news lately as much for its soaring price as its big-name backers, which brings us to tonight's split decision. Publicly traded companies from Tesla to Square have increased their exposure, but is it a good use of corporate capital? Does it bring too much risk for investors? Anthony Pompliano with us now, the investor and Bitcoin enthusiast. I'm looking on Twitter, too. And you guys, you and Calacanis are already going at it on Twitter. So I'm bringing Calacanis back in, too. And we're going to get it on right now. Anthony, I'm starting with you, Pomp. What's the deal? Why are companies doing this?
Listen, Bitcoin is the apex predator of financial markets. You've got digital sound money that's grown at a compound annual growth rate of 200% for a decade. And if you're sitting there and you manage a treasury, you've got cash on your balance sheet, you tell me where else you're going to put it where you can get that type of growth. 200% compound annual growth rate for a decade. There's nowhere else for them to put it. We're printing an unprecedented amount of money. And so they're looking for a safe haven. And Bitcoin is that apex predator that everyone is concluding is the answer.
Well, it sounds great. Then, Calacanis, why do you say on Twitter, hey, imaginary money man, when I said that you guys were both going to be here? Is that what Bitcoin is?
Well, obviously, it's imaginary money. And to a certain extent, all money is imaginary, except the U.S. dollar has the world's greatest army and economy behind it. So there are some things to the American dollar that have a slight advantage in the military bases we've placed around the world for the last 200 years and the fact that we own the world's greatest companies. I do think it's a very real technology that's combined with massive market manipulation, speculation. And so for somebody like Pomp, who's got, I think, Pomp, correct me if I'm wrong, you have 90% of your net worth in Bitcoin. This is a religion, and it's a bit crazy. For a company to have some of their corporate treasury in cryptocurrency isn't crazy. I would keep it at a small amount. I would be very careful that you don't need that. So I wouldn't put 100% or 90% of your treasury like Pomp has done. But Pomp's you're a 30-year-old guy with no kids and you don't have to, worry about it. So just be very careful out there, folks, because there is a decent chance that another technology will emerge that is better than Bitcoin. And when that happens, you could see just as easily as people poured speculative money into cryptocurrency and Bitcoin specifically, you could see the flows go out of it. So just be careful that, this very real technology, which is highly manipulated and highly speculative, you don't become the person left holding the bag.
Go ahead, Pomp. I mean, I'm getting out of the way. I know you want to get in.
Listen,
go ahead, Pomp.
Listen, it's hysterical that Jason's talking about manipulated markets. We have a Federal Reserve and elected officials who have outlawed bear markets. If you're in the stock market and the market starts to correct, they step in and they just pump liquidity into the market. This is insane. If you want to talk about a manipulated market, let's talk about the stock market. We saw China today started to enter into their market as well. We can't have markets that aren't allowed to correct. And so what we're watching is investors are racing to find an asset where they can go that is unmanipulated, transparent, programmatic
unmanipulated.
And Bitcoin serves that purpose, right?
Bitcoin's
think
not
about it this way,
manipulated.
right? The monetary policy of Bitcoin is as transparent and programmatic as they come. I can tell you exactly how much Bitcoin. Nobody can tell me how many dollars were printed today, how many dollars were taken out of circulation. Nobody knows. The system isn't transparent. Okay. It's completely, we're just watching the Federal Reserve and elected officials pump liquidity into a market, and they have outlawed bear markets. That's not how markets are supposed to work. What Bitcoin provides is a transparent, programmatic monetary policy that no one in the world controls. And investors have had enough, and they are going to seek refuge in something that cannot be changed at the whim of a government, an organization, or an individual. And that's why Bitcoin's winning.
Microsoft hack has left some 137 million individual IPs vulnerable. That's according to BitSight. Insurers, though, are ringing the alarm bell. This could be just the tip of the iceberg.
I have said for a number of quarters that the next pandemic, the exposure that looks like a virus, is cyber-related because it has no geographic or time bound to it. We've seen a number of events over the recent years that give a glimmer of that.
AIG says cyber attacks, especially ransomware, a type of attack which demands money from the victims, is growing exponentially. It's seen the number of cyber claims increase by 150% since 2018 and expects the price tag for damages to reach $20 billion this year. And in fact, the insurer sent out a resiliency plan saying that the estimate for costs of all kinds of cybercrime will hit $10.5 trillion by 2025. AIG's global head of cyber insurance tells me ransomware has increased in frequency and severity. The attackers are asking for tens of millions of dollars in some cases, and not only locking up the networks, but stealing the information before they do that. School districts, local governments, small businesses are all getting hit.
About half of our clients in the United States now buy a standalone cyber insurance product. And roughly 15 to 25% of our clients outside of the United States now decide to buy cyber insurance. But we expect the market to double over the course of the next 3 to 4 years.
The cost for cyber insurance coverage, though, are rising rapidly. Global broker Marsh says that rates went up 17% in the fourth quarter, 29% in January. And guys, get this. They anticipate for 2021, those rates could rise as much as 50%.
Because the Supreme Court order had very clearly told that the government has to take a call on the matter. We are talking with the Reserve Bank. Well, I'm not sure much before the cabinet takes a call on it. I want to give you any clues about what is in it. Obviously, the Reserve Bank will be taking a call on what kind of an official currency, cryptocurrency will have to be planned and how it has to be regulated. But also, we want to make sure that there is a window available for all kinds of experiments which will have to take place in the crypto world. And therefore, it's not as if we are going to look inwards and say, no, we are not going to have any of this. There will be a very calibrated position taken. A lot of mixed messages are coming from across the world. I don't think there is either a complete go this way or complete go that way in this matter. We will have to take a very calibrated position. World is moving fast with technology. We cannot pretend we don't want it. At the same time, we also recognize that in fintech, we've led the way. Many countries are looking at us for fintech kind of based steps and the kind of things that we've done in the payment dunya. So I would think I can only give you this clue that we are not closing our minds. We are certainly looking at the ways in which experimentations can happen in the digital world and cryptocurrency.